Right, ladies and gents, just a quick video I've been meaning to do for a while. Here we see you might add a Leatherman tool or your favourite obviously pen or pocket knife. Two of the most common ways anybody out in the field is going to injure themselves. I've seen an experienced bushcrafter catch himself in the leg with this, and a knife. I'm not going to insult anybody, he's intelligent. Any time this can come back and give you a really big bite. Again, I haven't got a pen knife here, so I'm just going to put these two to the side for a minute. And again, as it should be, as we're doing a little safety thing, my little safety thing, stick it back in the sheath it should be in, and attach to my sides. We all carry a first aid kit, ladies and gentlemen, and once you cut yourself, and you properly cut yourself, I have faith in some of the things that I'm going to be showing you at the moment. Again, here we hit it. That's just on a little normal bit of gaffer tape. I've got it in a plastic bag. I say the older style NATO first field dressing. It's not going to be unlike when this is unwrapped. The outer case is kind of waterproof. I just keep it as a quick plastic bag that you can rip open really quickly and tear your packaging, and bosh, you're there on that wound. Obviously, I've been left the army a while, and we're upgrading to stuff like this now, and bigger ones that are that size. Okay, these are ideal for what we would use out and about in the field, and I think they go by now the name of Israelis, very professional army, and one thing they do is keep their soldiers alive. Probably got the best medevac system, and train all the way back for their soldiers that I've known in the army to do. Not saying that other armies don't take that, but here we've got is two exactly the same as that, just slightly smaller. This one's put on, if it's soaked with blood, I mean this goes to 2 pints, and you put another one on, and if you put another one on and it's soaked, that person's got a problem, because as we all know, you've only got 8 to 9 pints of blood in your body. And as we're going down here, there's many arteries you've got inside your leg, both legs there. If you cut an artery, literally your blood is just pumped round your body and out. You've got two types of cut. One's a sort of a yellow, a red sort of very bright one, and the other one's sort of darker. One's coming from the heart and one's going to the heart to be reoxygenated and taken around the body. No matter what size of cut you got, and if you're using a blading instrument, it can be reasonably substantial at times. Sometimes your plasters and a little bandage around your finger will cover it. Other times it's a little bit more substantial. So that's something I carry. That's the older style one. Nothing wrong with that if you can still get hold of them. But these, literally, that's our size. They kind of don't weigh a great deal. I think they'd probably weigh about as much as 10 cigarettes and that. But they come. I got these and I sent off to them because when I was doing the old stuff, Israel. I got 6 of them, and I think they worked out to be something in the region of £8. I will try and find a link and include it at the bottom of this video should you think these are a good idea and you want to get to some of them. I obviously carry two of these with me at all times, and these are the two that are actually in me, like my first aid kit, which everybody has, which would, may well be on my Bergen, inside my Bergen. So these are fully waterproofed, vacuum sealed. They've got a little tear bit there. I've torn one open, so we can have a little look inside. If somebody had a projectile wound, obviously a sucking chest wound, that could be ripped open and that could seal the wound there. But inside, there's nothing flash or fancy about these. Is a sterile gauze pad. Now, imagine I had a cut sort of there, fairly deep cut, that would go over, and the two wings would literally be wrapped round and wrap round and wrap round and wrap round. I can't really do this on myself, with the knot being at the top and trying to get that as tight as possible for your direct pressure. And again, whoever you're doing it for, you're doing it yourself, you would hold it down, because the first way to stop bleeding is putting direct pressure onto the wound, if that makes sense. So you're putting more pressure so that it stops, it will help slow down the bleeding. So when we rip one of these open, and again, if you cut yourself on the leg, the arm and that type of stuff, and it doesn't have to be a great big massive cut. Obviously if a plaster's going to cover it, then a plaster's going to cover it, but literally that's what's inside these first field dressings. A gauze pad with 2 long wings either side, and it's my belief, I'll prove to you, I'm not trying to get you to do or say anything, that whenever you have a knife and it's attached to, and I've got mine there, very minimum I would do is just carry these adjacent to and very near your knife, i.e. always on your body. Mine always is in a little pouch and that's always attached to the side of my belt, and these are the two that I don't go nowhere without, because we all know the story. That's just a little waterproof bag, that's the IPK bag, that's what I use this for. There's the two that I would carry. Now my first aid kit is something completely different, and it's generally in the Bergen, and I can attach it to my belt if necessary. But I'll put these back now. That's just a little waterproof covering I keep them in. Bearing in mind, I hope I never need to use these, but the moment I do need to use these, I want them you know, clean and sterile and dry. Obviously they are waterproof as they are. Well, I'll stick that way to sort out later on. So my theory is that you've wandered off into the woods, and we can all insert your own scenario out here, don't need to use mine. Or maybe sort of 50-60 metres that way, collecting wood, doing something. Bam, you know, you've just given yourself a really nasty cut. Probably be on the arms or the lower legs, you know, when you're hitting with the axes and so forth. See people coming close a lot of times in some of the videos. It doesn't matter who you are, at some point you will cut yourself. All I'll say there is, what you've got there is what you need. And it will always be with you no matter where you are, okay? If you have a little belt pouch with that, and it's always on your belt, and if that needs to be your trousers belt because I don't weigh much, I have that, a silver foil blanket and my ferro rod in a little pouch, which I'll show you in a moment. Let's go. And that's the way I do that. There's a little patch, doesn't weigh a great deal. Inside there's a ferro rod in there and a silver foil blanket. So even if I only had that, I've got obviously stuff to keep myself alive, first aid and a way of starting a fire. But I'm not talking about this today. All I'm talking about is I can't see a reason why anybody, any bushcrafter, survivalist, prepper, whatever you can't, doesn't need some of these either in your main first aid kit, but at the very least these need to be, two of these need to be carried on your body really close to you and quite close to your knife. Obviously I have my knife, and then I have that little pouch as I've just said, which I'm going to put the other two back in now. So no matter what happens at any time, then what I'm doing, what mindset I'm in, or what situation I am, I know I can give myself immediate first aid for a cut. And obviously, if you had a big large burn, because you know the pot falls over, or you catch yourself on fire and you put yourself out, again these are sterile, dry sterile gauze gauze bandage, straight over the wound. I mean, first aid changes all the time. In the army we was always taught to wet that the actual padding, i.e. to take the heat away from the room. But ladies and gents, I'll put the link at the bottom. I think he does them 2, 4, 6, 8, and I think I've got 8 of these. I've boshed a couple away to people, but I can't see any reason why any bushcrafter wouldn't want at least 2. And again, I've got another 2. These are the 2 that go in your first aid kit, and I've got 2 that's on my belt as described, that you wouldn't want these here. And I think the beauty of these things is, and the rule of these things is, that wherever the knife goes, these go. Yeah. So if you get caught out and your first aid kit is in your Bergen and you're away, or you're doing something, you're collecting water, and there's a myriad of scenarios. I just can't see a reason why people can't carry 2 of these quite close on your belt. So whatever happens, you've always got them should you need them. And these are supplementary to your first aid kit, if that makes sense. Because that scenario, I think somebody's, not for me to name people, found out that it's always nice to have your first aid kit quite close to you, because that scenario happened. Injury, Bergen was that way. That person has the lovely Maxpedition pouches, and it's always very close to where he is now. Never really goes too far away from it. So ladies and gentlemen, the Israeli dressings, I'll stick the link where you can actually go away, and they're coming from Israel. It took about sort of, I don't know, 6-7 days to get to me. I don't know of a better, smaller, lighter emergency, and it will be emergency, first cut responder kit, or you know, you can have sort of posh words for it, but hopefully somebody's going to make value out of that. Don't cost a great deal, and will be invaluable and life-saving and priceless should you need to use them. I'm sure we all agree you don't really want to cut yourself, but hey ho, real life interjects and it happens at times. Israeli suggestions, you've got any questions, drop them in and I'll try and answer them as best as I can.